All right, and we're live. Hello, and welcome to the Heroes of IT podcast, where we at Automox talk to people who we think are our heroes of IT. Today, I have on Casey Merritt from Right Systems. Thank you so much for joining us today, Casey.
No problem. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, why don't we get started with my favorite question to ask everyone, which is how did you get into the field of IT?
I came from a background of construction and manufacturing, but always wanted to be in IT. And then I eventually got hurt on the job really bad. So they had to send me to school to learn something new that wasn't physically demanding. And IT was my field that I've been looking forward to. And they said, we'll pay for it. And they sent me to school. And I got my associates of applied science in cybersecurity and network administration.
All right. Well, I'm glad that it sounds like everything worked out for you
Yeah.
at the end of that all. What was your first job inside of IT after getting that
Actually,
degree?
Right Systems. They brought me right out
Really?
of school, and I've been working here ever since. Yep.
How long have you been working there for?
Almost 4 years.
Okay. So a good amount of time, the lay of
Yes.
the land.
Yep.
Here at Automox, we joke like if you've been here for like 3 weeks or like longer than the previous hire, like you're old guard. You've been here for a while.
Yes.
Um,
Paid my dues.
yeah, definitely. All right. Well, why don't we get a little bit into how you use Automox and, what tools are you using to manage your IT environment?
So we actually use Automox. So we are also a managed services provider. So we actually use Automox for multiple of customers, and it's like one of our prime patching products that we like to push out to them to get them to help assist with the issues that they run. But we use it also internally here. We use it for not only just the patching and pops and getting all the products that we need, getting our vulnerabilities down, but we also use, the worklets for if we need to do bulk system removals, need to do any actions that we need to do that normally we don't want to script on a regular basis that we see other products are kind of.
Have you had Automox the entire time that you've been at Right Systems?
I believe we've had it now for 3 years.
Okay. Were you part
Yes.
of the team that researched and implemented the tool?
I was not. I was
Okay.
not part of the original team. Our old CISO actually did set it up and got it going. And then when he left, which was not long afterwards, he handed me the keys to it and said, "Here you go, it's yours." And I've owned it since then. But I've gone through with some of our customers as the guide, implementations lead, and everything for them as well.
Okay, cool. So what end of the business do you work on? Do you work on the MSP side or do you also do stuff for like internal patching and
Both.
configuration? Okay.
Both. I work on the MSP side, so for our managed services customers, but I also manage the internal at our own company.
Okay, cool. So you can kind of apply like your best tips and tricks to
Exactly.
the MSP environments.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I feel like I do talk to a lot of MSPs in my day to day, and I feel like that's kind of a unique setup. I feel like the majority of them do separate their teams that work in their instances of Automox.
Yeah, we use everything kind of under an umbrella, therefore, but our teams actually internally, we decided that it was best that people who know what they're doing know what they're will be the ones with their hands on it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure that it makes things a lot more efficient too. Like when you're finding vulnerabilities or, a patch Tuesday just came out and you're going to have to do it twice to just
Exactly.
roll it into one.
Exactly. Yep. So it kind of gives me an idea of, we can compare with a lot with our MSP customers and in our own internal environment and do a lot of these same processes, same workflows, standardization, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, as someone who has used Automox for a little bit, what are your favorite features?
Definitely. My favorite features, of course, is the ability to run PowerShell scripts, put those into automation. That's made a lot of our work really simple. The reporting back that we get and the ability to view, I guess you want to say, the view what's happening and when it's happening and get peer validation of what's going on and be able to provide that not only to ourselves but our customers, and in a to give them validation that their systems are working and staying up to date.
Yeah. Have you seen the new reporting that's coming into the dashboard?
I have not seen it recently. I know the dashboard's changed recently in the last, I'd say, week or so.
Yeah.
But yes, I haven't done a deep dive into it yet to see what it looks like now.
I had one of our technical team members, Landon, who runs another one of our podcasts as well. He does like a little, he calls them lightning lessons, and he takes us through like 15 minutes of like what's new or explaining this like really niche thing about Automox or the console or how it works or the why behind it. And he's taking us through our new analytics tab, and I think you'd love it. It is insane how much you can drill down into the reports and customize it and like extract information. I think the use case that he pulled out was, you know, it was a graph of unpatched devices over time, and you could drill down into each week and see which exactly did not get patched, which I can imagine would be extremely helpful. But
It is.
it's just crazy watching how it's going to be so much. It was already great, but it's going to be so improved and so much more helpful.
Yeah, that would be great because actually I've known that with the customers and other customers that we already have, and then ones that we've presented the product to, that's one of their key questions is what does the reporting look like? What kind of
Yeah.
information can I get from that?
Yeah. I'll send you over a presentation or like a deck or something after we get off this call. But
Yes.
yeah,
That's
it's
great.
very cool.
That's great.
All right. Well, every month at the Autonomous IT podcasts, every show goes through what our theme for the month is. And for April, our theme is spring cleaning. So, kind of playing into the seasonality of it. What are your tips for spring cleaning in IT? So, any tips or tricks that you use to keep your environment clean, organized? I'm sure that's like especially relevant being an MSP and having to work in a lot of different customers' environments.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of key items that they have. I mean, we have processes and maintenance tasks and constant reviews that we do on a daily basis, if not weekly basis. But a lot of the spring cleaning that we do is reading any problems anything that we have that's problematic. We do a lot of that in and then we leverage it a lot with Automox, which I've actually been doing just recently with stuff that we haven't been able to do in other products. We use that for highly rely on Automox itself to do a lot of the cleaning that other products aren't doing for us. And right now we've been dialing down to where are we missing, and that's what one of our big key ones right now is what are we missing, what's left, um, whether it's supported with Automox or not. And our current cleaning is getting products that are normally are third party and whatnot, that aren't standardized by normal people, and how can we get that automated into Automox itself, which we've been pretty successful in doing really.
Yeah, I know the third party catalog is huge. When you say cleaning, do you mean things like deploying like scripts that are
Yes.
constantly searching for pieces of software or
Yes, we do those. Constantly looking for software, constantly looking for versions that are found. We also use it for automating. With one of our customers, we actually use it for auditing if there's any local administrators on the accounts. We do that a lot because no one's supposed to be a local administrator. We do a lot of that for security purposes, look for any ways the loophole. We use Automox to do pull loopholes that people might be trying to get past via scripts. I use it to also automate defender reports from Microsoft off the Defender antivirus off people's devices.
So for those of you who are listening in who may not be an Automox customer yet, um, these things that we're talking about, these scripts, are one of Automox's key features. They're called Worklets. You can run them PowerShell or Bash, depending on what OS type you're working on. And it's essentially a way to automate at scale. So you can run a script, for example, to find Notepad++ and remove it from all of your laptops. Or I'm trying to think of like what's a good one. Casey, can you think of any worklets off the top
My
of your
favorite
head?
ones are the uninstall feature ones. Also, we've used it for the Worklet catalog, which has a lot of stuff in it. We use it for deploying. We've used it for the removal of applications that we're no longer using. That's a big one that we do for. We use if we're no longer using a product and we want to make sure we get it all cleared up our systems. Um, First place we go is Automox and run the worklets for it. Customized ones that you guys have built in that are customizable, and we run those, and it works every single time.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. We have actually a dedicated team at Automox for worklets, and that's like the main part of their job is writing new worklets or working with customers to, ideate and figure out, what don't we have that people need. For example, if we have a bunch of financial services customers who deal with one application that's not in our catalog yet, like what can we write for you to get you there to help manage that? Um, so are there any other tips or tricks that you use with Automox to help with organization in your environment?
We do. We've automated some of our we do some of our application installations via Automox because it's most reliable. We don't want. I know we use Intune, and Intune, if you try to deploy too many things at once, it can really bottleneck down your computer and just to set up for a new employee. So now we've automated some of that through Automox so that we take the workload off of Intune and we can get our users set up faster. So that everything's not being thrown on at once. We just wait for the agent to be deployed, and then they get the new sets of stuff. So it's done in stages. So that way we get it's less bottleneck, less restrictive on users, and they can get to work as needed when they start out. It's a big key one for us.
That's an interesting use case. I've heard of people preferring Automox to deploy over Intune because it allows you to have like more control over an employee's laptop. Like, for example, if they're downloading stuff on their own, which I hope no one's doing, but in a worst case scenario. But I've never really heard of that bottleneck challenge. That's a really good use case.
Yes, it's been key for us so that we get people with their baseline stuff that they use, but then once the agent's deployed, we then they get the rest of the stuff so that they can get set up a lot faster and got rid of a lot of the bottlenecks and processes. We've ran into that a few times with Intune where it would take 2 hours to deploy a device to someone because they had so many applications that needed to be pushed. Well, we did in stages using Automox, then it was a lot faster. It was a lot more user friendly.
That's cool. All of the Intune their ears are going to be perking up listening to
Oh, I still like
this.
Intune, but yes, but
Yeah.
it's really nice to help get things leveled out in stages.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That brings me to the end of all of my questions for you. But this was awesome. I'm sure people will love listening into this.
Yeah,
For those of you listening, this is the Heroes of IT podcast with Automox's Autonomous IT. We come out with episodes every Tuesday and Thursday across different subjects. So whether that's our product talk series, our CISO IT, our Patch Tuesday podcasts, you can listen to them wherever you like to listen to your podcasts.